Hey guys, Zack here, and welcome back to another action figure review, and today we'll be taking a look at the Bandai movie monster series Godzilla 1989 and Super X2. Now, these two come from the 1989 film Godzilla vs. Biollante, which I actually just watched the other day, so it's still fresh in my mind, but as far as my thoughts on Godzilla vs. Biollante, it's one of my favorites. I do really like Godzilla vs. Biollante. I will say, in this movie, there are English-speaking characters, and the acting for them, I think, is really bad. Nothing against the actors personally. I'm sure they're just going with, like, what they're directed to do, but it's pretty rough, I'm not gonna lie. The soundtrack, while I really like it, I feel like doesn't really fit what's going on in certain scenes. Like, the very well-known BioWars track, that's played in scenes where, like, people are running around, like, shooting each other, or, scenes where, like, people are, like, evacuating a city, and it doesn't really fit the situation. This should be, like, a tense, like, moment, but we have this, like, really over-the-top, like, pop rock song playing in the background, and it does take you out of it a little bit. But overall, it's still a very good movie. I like the characters. I really like the special effects, particularly on Biollante. Honestly, still one of the most, like, impressive, like, monsters in the Godzilla franchise on, like, a technical standpoint, because a lot went into, like, the behind-the-scenes and stuff that I really liked, and, as I mentioned, I really liked the music. A lot of deleted scenes that I think should have been in the movie. The original ending was to have, like, Biollante kill Godzilla, but then Biollante, like, sort of resurrects Godzilla, but, like, they use, like, 2D animation, and it looks really good, and it's like, why was that cut? This looks amazing, and so on. I could go on and on and on, but Godzilla vs. Biollante, very minor things I would have done differently, but overall, one of my favorites. I absolutely love Godzilla vs. Biollante, so yeah, I don't really know what else to say, so let's just get right into this. As per usual, to start, we'll take a look at the tag, and for the cover here, we have a nice picture of Godzilla from Godzilla vs. Biollante. At the bottom here, we have Godzilla 1989 and Super X2, both in Japanese and in English here. It would have been nice if they included Super X on the cover of the tag here, but I digress. We have Godzilla 2025, some legal information. On the back here, we have a nice silhouette of Godzilla's dorsal plates. Bandai Namco, ages 3 and up. Godzilla vs. Biollante, movie monster series both in English and in Japanese. Bandai, Godzilla, legal information here. On the inside, we have a lot of legal information on this side. More legal information here. A bit of a bio for Godzilla and the Super X2. Godzilla, the barcode there. And that's pretty much it for the tag. Before we take a look at Godzilla, to start, we'll take a look at the Super X here. Now, this is kind of interesting because we are now at a point where movie monster series figures are starting to come with accessories, which I think is really cool, I mean, like, this isn't really anything new, I remember, I think, earlier this year, they revealed the movie monster series Dancing Godzilla from Invasion of Astro Monster, and that came with, like, a rock base. And some of the Shin Ultraman movie monster series figures had, like, stands to, like, help them stand properly, but we never got an accessory to, like, this degree. And I think it's really cool that Bandai's starting to do that now. It does open the door, maybe we could get, like, a version 2.0 of Godzilla 1984 with the first Super X. Maybe there can be, like, a Godzilla store exclusive, like, movie monster series Burning Godzilla that has paint on the shoulders, as well as, like, the Super X3, and so on, I think that's really cool. But as for the Super X2 itself, I like it. There's no paint to speak of whatsoever, which is a little disappointing, which, I mean, on the one hand, I get, but it would have been nice if there's, like, a little bit of something. Like, it would have been nice if, like, the jet boosters on the back and at the bottom here and the front here were painted black. Like, in the movie, the tip of this thing was painted black. So, yeah, that would have been cool. And also, there was, like, a gold star in the front here, and that would have been cool to see, but as is, like, it still looks fine, like, like, I'm okay with this, more paint would have been nice, but, again, it doesn't look too bad, but, the sculpting looks really good, and the detailing here is great, all the mechanical detailing and everything like that is detailed very nicely, and, yeah, This is the Super X2. Not a whole lot to say here, but I like it. It's a neat little accessory, and I'm down with this. Now, finally getting to Godzilla. To start, we'll take a look at the paint, and the painting on this figure, I think, looks very good. So, let's take a closer look. So, as you can see here, the entirety of this figure is cast in this blackish coloration, which is, normal for Godzilla standards. The dorsal plates here are going to be painted a nice brownish coloration, which I really like. In the movie, his dorsal plates were closer to this color. I know with, other Godzilla designs, we're more so used to, the white dorsal plates, but I kind of like the coloration here. I think it adds, more variety compared to, the other, Godzilla movie Monster Series figures we have, and it just looks nice. I'm a fan of this, On mine, there's a little bit of paint chipping, which is a little unfortunate, but, still, as is, it looks nice, and of course, we do have the more, darker bits at the center here. And what's really cool is that this brownish coloration goes from the back of the neck all the way to the end of the tail here. And unlike the movie Monster Series Godzilla 1994, the painting here actually looks pretty clean, It doesn't look sloppy or anything like that. It looks good. I'm a fan of this. The dorsal plates, I think, look great. The toenails and fingernails here are going to be painted just straight up white, which looks nice. Going to the head here, we can see that Godzilla's teeth are also going to be painted white. And we can see his gums here too, and his gums here are painted a very dark shade of red, which looks nice. The eyes here are going to be painted almost what looks like a bronze coloration, which I think looks nice, with orange pupils, and the eyes here I think look nice. My problem with the movie Monster Series Godzilla 1991 is that I think the eyes were a little too big and a little too, noticeable. When in the movie, they were a bit smaller, and, it looked more like Godzilla had, darker eyes. I know it was because, the shading from, his brows and, the lighting and all of that, but, still, I think the eyes on that figure were a little bit much. But the eyes here, I think, are nice. They're small and subtle, and, under the right lighting, you can get that same look. And yeah, I'm a fan of that. So, yeah, the eyes here look great. And overall, the painting on this figure, for a Bandai vinyl, I think looks really good. So the painting on this figure, I'd say definitely gets a pass. Now, we'll take a look at the articulation, and surprise, surprise, there's not a whole lot to say here. The arms can move forwards about that much, and backwards about that much. The legs can kick about that high if you want to do it safely. I say safely. It might be possible to make the legs move a full 360 degrees, but if you do that, you might risk rubbing all the detailing on the legs against the detailing on the body here, which you don't want to do that. You don't want to scuff up this figure. But the legs can kick forward that much and backwards about that far. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the articulation. Not a lot to say. It's fine. It gets a pass. Now, we'll take a look at the sculpt, and the sculpting on this figure is pretty much perfect. I think this captures the likeness of Godzilla from Godzilla vs. Biollante perfectly. Everything here looks great. The proportions look great. Nothing's too big or too small or too out of place or anything like that. The sculpting here looks great. I like how the mouth is closed. Usually with movie Monster Series figures, the mouths are open, because Godzilla's roaring. But here, the mouth is closed, and I like that. It's a nice change of pace compared to the other movie Monster Series Godzilla figures there are. So I'm into this. If there's one very microscopic complaint that I have with the sculpting here, this one dorsal plate looks a little weird. The rest of the sculpting here, I think, is perfect. This is a not one-to-one, but really close to how Godzilla looked in Godzilla vs. Biollante. But if I had to find one minor nitpick, it would be this one dorsal plate here. And at this point, I'm just trying to find complaints because the sculpting here is still amazing. So the sculpting on this figure, I'd say definitely gets a pass. Now, we'll take a look at the detailing, and the detailing on this figure is very good, so let's take a closer look. So starting off at the head here, we can see all of the scales and all of, like, the ridges in the face here, and everything here is just detailed very nicely. Everything here is just very nicely defined, like on the top of the head here. Again, just a lot of really nice detailing there. And that detailing continues all the way down to the neck here. Just a lot of really nice scaling throughout here. You know, the front of the figure, a lot of really nice detailing, you know. All of the creases and all of, like, the, you know, folds in the skin here gives off that, like, guy in a suit feel, and it just looks great. You know, of course we have that, like, on the chest here, like the neck here too. And just a lot of really nice detailing. All of the scaling and all of, like, the wrinkles and everything like that. Again, just looks really nice. Everything here is just very nicely defined, you know. The legs here are very nicely detailed. Going to the tail here, again, just a lot of really nice scaling, and all of, like, the creases and everything are detailed very nicely. And of course, that continues all the way to the end of the tail here. The dorsal plates here, again, have a nice bit of texturing as well, which looks really good. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the detail on this figure. And the detail on this figure, very good. Definitely gets a pass. Now, we'll do some size comparisons. To start, here we have the Bandai Movie Monster Series Biollante. And yeah, here's to hoping we get a Movie Monster Series Giga Biollante someday in the future. Here we have the SH Monster Arts Godzilla 1989. Here we have this little Godzilla 1989 here. I forget what this guy's called exactly. All I know is that he came out a while ago, but then got re-released in the US for Godzilla's 65th anniversary. But yeah, anyway, here this little figure is. And of course, here we have some hand sanitizer. And here we have Dr. Billy Grant. So at the end of the day, should you get this figure? I'd say yes. I think the painting on this figure is really nice. I think the sculpting is great and the detailing is fantastic. And overall, this is just a really nice figure. And on top of that, it comes with a Super X2 as well. Like, if they just released, like, Godzilla on its own, like, that would have been fine. I would have been okay with that. But the fact that it comes with a Super X2, I think is really neat. So, yes, I do recommend that you pick this figure up. Now, as far as price tags go, I got this figure from Hobby Link Japan. And the MSRP before shipping is about 23 to 25 bucks, which I think is very fair. You know, especially that it comes with an accessory like this, like, that's fair. Because of these tariffs, you know, shipping fees are much more expensive. Before, if I got this figure from Hobby Link Japan, I would have had to have paid, like, an additional, like, $25, $30 worth of shipping, which would have brought the total to, like, 50 bucks, like, give or take. Which I think is fair, because, again, you're importing this from another country, and, like, it is what it is. Like, that's a fair asking price. Because of these tariffs that are in place now, I've talked about this in my last video, but importing figures like this is very hard. And also very expensive. So now, like, when I ordered this guy, I paid, as far as shipping goes, a total of, like, $75 to $80. Bumping the price tag of this figure to $100. Now, granted, I bought, as you can see in the, you know, right now, the Super X2. I also bought the Tamashii Nation's Act Mechanic stand to, you know, display, because I want the Super X to be flying when I display it. But I did get that, and yeah, so that added a little bit to the total cost, but, like, you're still paying a lot of money for this figure as far as, like, importing goes. And I don't think it's super avoidable, unfortunately. In the last video I made, I talked about Amazon Japan and how there weren't any, like, Amazon, like, tariff fees. I think they are cracking down on that now, so I think, like, you do have to pay, like, a little bit of tariff fees through Amazon Japan, which is a little annoying. If you order this guy through the Japanese Godzilla store, you can use Bai, and two shipping methods they have. One is, like, in the $40 price tag, but the other one, ECMS, is in the, like, $20 price tag. And I'm not sure if tariffs have anything to do with that shipping method in particular. I ordered from them, or I used that before as far as like shipping goes, with the Movie Monster Series Dream 5 box set and the Movie Monster Series Godzilla 1994. And, like, it took a while for them to show up. Like, the price was okay, but shipping wise, it did take a little bit for it to arrive to my house. And I used that shipping method, like, back in August of this year for the Movie Monster Series Godzilla 1955. And again, like, the price was okay, it's just the shipping time was a lot. So if you do get this guy through the Godzilla store, like the Japanese Godzilla store, then there are those two options. I don't know if that changed with like tariffs or anything like that. It might have, so take what I'm saying with a grain of salt. But from what I experienced, like ECMS, like it's really cheap, and well, there's no end. It just takes a while to get to your house. But like that's an option too. Unfortunately, that only really is applicable for Godzilla specific Movie Monster Series figures. So hypothetically speaking, if they started making more Movie Monster Series like Gamera figures, then that wouldn't be an option for you, unfortunately. There's also Beast of the East collectibles, which I've heard good things about. In fact, I pre-ordered my Movie Monster Series Giga Destroya from them. I'm not sponsored or anything like that. I'm just letting you know, like, how I'm handling things. So I pre-ordered Destroya there, and back in August, they did say that they were gonna like, put like shipments from Japan to their warehouse like on hold. And I asked them if they were like still doing that because they were still listing pre-orders for like Destroya and like Mecha King Ghidorah and all that, and they said that like getting they're shipping from Japan to their warehouse again, just slowly, and it's very tricky. So it's everything is just very complicated right now. But I'm just giving you some like ideas. Like ultimately, I think you're just gonna have to just bite the bullet and just pay the like $70 to $80 worth of shipping through HobbyLink Japan if you really want this figure. But I'll look around too as far as like other retailers that sell like Movie Monster Series figures like this, and I'll like when I review them, I will give my input. But I digress. I have been rambling on for far too long now. That is it for today. Have a great rest of your week, and I will see you in the next video. Peace, Zack out.